You are listening to episode number 75 of the Everything Ham Radio podcast. Today we talk with Bob Greenberg about RFinder, so stick around. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Everything Ham Radio podcast. My name is Curtis, I am the host for this podcast, and this is episode number 75. Today we talk with Bob Greenberg, W2CYK, about a program that he wrote that is called RFinder. Now, I'm not going to tell you a whole lot about it, I'm going to save it for the interview, so stick around for that. There's a lot of information. This sounds like a really neat program. I highly suggest it if you do any kind of traveling at all. But anyways, let's get a little bit of the other stuff out of the way first off. You can find the show notes of today's episode that will have all the links that we talk about as well as additional information. You can find that at everythinghamradio.com/podcast/75. That's number 75. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/everythinghamradio or the group at facebook.com/groups/everythinghamradio. I'm on YouTube at youtube.com/everythinghamradio and on Twitter at K5CLM. So this is the first episode after Field Day. So how was your Field Day? That's going to be the question of the week this week. How was your Field Day? Did you participate in it? Did you have any issues? What are some things that you're going to change? All that kind of stuff. So leave a comment in the show notes or on Facebook and let me know how your Field Day was. I guess let's go ahead and get on to the interview. So here we go with Bob Greenberg. Hey everybody, we are here with Bob Greenberg. His call sign is Whiskey 2 Charlie Yankee Kilo. And he is the developer and maker of the program called RFinder. So, Bob, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Hey, Curtis. And good evening, everybody, or good morning. I don't know. When do you play this thing? The evening?
It goes live about 4 o'clock in the morning, and you can listen to it pretty much wherever you want. So morning, evening, afternoon, all that.
Oh, that's cool. Well, good day, everybody. Hi, Bob here, W2CYK, from RFinder, and more recently, the RFinder Android radios. Let's see. What do you want to know? Where do I start in ham radio? Or
Sure. That's a good place to start.
All right, well, I'm a third-generation ham.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my son's a fourth. He's W2EEO. And my grandfather was W2LH. My grandmother was W2EEO. My son has her call sign.
That doesn't happen very often.
I know, right? And I enjoyed Father's Day yesterday with K2ACM, who was my favorite dad in the whole world. And who did I miss? Oh, my aunt. She's Sugar Kilowatt also, and she was Sylvia, originally W2GPK, and then N6VSU. So, come from a ham family. I started with ham radio. Was very young. I remember sitting on my grandfather's knee. He was left-handed, so I'd be on his right knee when he'd be tapping out with his left. So he liked the straight key. And I learned I got my license at Pearl River High School, WB2ABJ, and in Pearl River, New York. And ham radio's been great to me. I've been a ham since 1976, and I've used ham radio all over the world, and it's just a great fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've used ham radio here in Texas. That's about it. Well, no, I take that back. I lived in Arizona for about 18 months when I went to college, and they used it there, but predominantly here in Texas. So I envy you there, being able to use it all over the world. That's something that I strive to do maybe one of these days. Sure.
Well, it's fun, and I was originally WA2JDH, and then really WN2JDH and WA2JDH after I got my general, and then N0FYS for quite some time. I had moved out to Colorado and got a zero call. So Yeah, just ham radio's been a lot of fun. I've been doing it pretty much, like I said, whether I had a ticket or not. Grandpa always put me on the mic to say hi to his friends. You know.
Got to show off the grandkids.
Oh yeah, especially the one that you teach how to solder at 7. You know.
Oh, there you go. We're starting you young, huh?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
do you use your amateur radio license in your career field, I guess?
Well, not really. Well, it depends on how you look at it. I got my first job in computers. I went to State University of New York at New Paltz for computer science, and but I first got my first computer job out in Colorado. The guy was looking at a stack of resumes. I was the only ham, and he was a ham. So he hired me right away, right on the spot.
There you go.
And so that was cool. And then I had actually gotten another job upstate New York at KTB Associates. They were doing web printing for the inserts in the Sunday newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
So they would print those. And so the president of the company was a ham, and he pulled me out of a stack of resumes too. So that was kind of cool. Ham radio's been good. From a not just getting a job, but just the fact that once you're a ham, you kind of think about things differently. You know what I mean? So it kind of helps you in your work in general, I think.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about RFinder. What exactly is it?
Well, it's the worldwide repeater directory. And years ago, when I worked at IBM, I traveled. I traveled all over the world and parts of Alabama, and had a nice career flying all over the place. And I always had an HT with me, and I would just sit there and kind of thumb through the frequencies looking for something to attach to. And sometimes I get lucky, and sometimes I didn't. But I always thought, we really need a worldwide repeater directory.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought about it for a long time. Probably 20 years I thought about it. And then one day we were supposed to do a programming job. My programmer we were put off for 8 months. And I said to him, look, download whatever you need to write an Android app. And in a week I'll have a design for you. So I was like, yeah, repeater directory. All right, let's do a repeater directory. And, I got 10 countries worth of data, whatever I could find, and laid out a design for them. And about a week later, I had a prototype in my hand, and I had him change 3 things, and 3 days later, we put it on the market, and that was that.
Wow.
So, yep, and then we created a web version, we created an iPhone version, so... And on and on and on, and all the cool features that we've thrown in it, from APRS to, social features for a repeater, to be able to let people know that you're checked into a machine, and place you on the APRS map, and integration with Echolink. We've done all kinds of, integration with IRLP, and then most recently integrating with Android-based HTs. So. Been a lot of fun.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's been a fun project, and we were asked to be the repeater directory of Canada first, and that was our first country, and then the United Kingdom came just a few months later. They saw what we were doing, they were like, yeah, this is a good idea, and then another 13 countries since then, and so we're including the league, which was huge for us, So it's been fun. We've been having a great time.
So you're not only just here in the U.S., but you're actually pretty well worldwide. Do you have pretty well every country, or every major country, or how many countries do y'all have?
Wherever there's repeaters, So there's small countries where there aren't any machines, but we've got roughly 170 countries, give or take. Every once in a while it goes up a little, and then it goes down a little, because there's one machine in a country and then it disappears. But we're the official directory in Canada and Great Britain, Italy, Mexico, Germany, Spain, France, well, the U.S. obviously, Cayman Islands, Portugal, Brazil, and Lithuania. We have Israel coming shortly, I think. We have Indonesia coming shortly, I think, and Malaysia. So,
where do you get all the data from? Is there like a central location, or?
Well, it depends. It came from a lot of different places. I mean, we probably have 100, some odd, maybe more sources of data over the years. We had some spiders that were walking around the web for a long time looking for data. And when it would identify, if it could identify the data and, quantifiably, in other words, this is an output frequency, this is a location, you know what I mean? If we could figure out what it was, then it would queue them up for us to just clean them up and, get them in. Or sometimes it would just identify a location of data if it was unable to figure out what it was, it would just let us know, hey, take a look at this website. It looks like there's some data on it. So we try to automate it as much as possible. And we did this really, all of this with 3.5 people. So, it was you had to use technology wherever you could,
Right. That's a lot of data to get going and get together. I can only imagine. So is and then we have the automated sources. So like all the digital stuff, D-Star, DMR. Like we pull data every day from DMR Mark and from Brandmeister. We're hoping to add DMR Plus if they'll play along one of these days. We're hoping to add. Actually, we're hoping to do an automated feed of Yaesu, but I've talked to them a bunch of times, and data's in Japan, and they don't seem to want to let it out. We get data from the Japan Amateur Radio League, and then we actually do something interesting with it. We translate it into English. So we show alternating, English and Japanese entries. So a Japanese, many people don't even read English in Japan, So, we show it both in Japanese and English for them. As well as the app. Apps are translated into Japanese also, as well as Spanish, French, German, Portuguese, Italian, French, So, and then, we enhance with Echolink. We get data in from Echolink and match it up with machines that exist. We used to create new machines from scratch, but we stopped doing that. Now we just match it up with machines that we know that we have. Because we were getting a lot of links, so we wanted to get rid of the links. So if I have a repeater and I put it on air, what do I have to do to get it listed in RFinder?
Well, you just go to add.rfinder.net and put it in. Put the lat line in decimal plus minus format and submit it. And when we look at the queue, we'll add it in. I processed 106 of them this morning.
Wow.
So we have a queue. I have to look at them because sometimes people put very interesting information in, like a 600 megahertz shift on 2 meters. So I got to look at it, make sure it all looks right and stuff. Or like here in the United States, we use negative longitudes. If you put a positive longitude and you're or somewhere out west in the Utah, Nevada, California, you'll end up in deepest, darkest Mongolia. So so we got to look at how people are entering data and make sure it's right, and just make sure it all looks right. Or if somebody makes a deletion, they might say, we always make them put in a reason. So if they put in a deletion for a machine and they say, I do not like, well, that doesn't really mean much. And I have to go and research it to see if does the machine exist. And I have to what don't you like about the machine? So we get stuff like that. I have to look over the deletes very carefully. Sometimes we've actually had situations where somebody was mad at a machine owner and they just started pruning their machines out. I was like, this doesn't look right. So, so we got to like look at them all and make sure they're, so we always have an eye cast on them to make sure that the updates look right and the ads look right and the deletes look bona fide and stuff.
So whenever you do get somebody that manually adds a repeater, do you go in and verify the information other than just that it looks right? I mean, do you actually go and see if that repeater is actually there? I mean, honestly, somebody could go in and just say, okay, well, I have a repeater here, and somebody tries to use it, finding off your site, and there's nothing there. How do you verify that?
It's the risk of a what do you call it? Of a crowdsourced system. For the most part, people are serious. Every once in a while, we get a string of updates that just don't make any sense at all. Like nothing. Nothing makes sense. It's Echo Link node 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Well, that's not. Obviously, that's ridiculous. It's farcical. So we ignore that kind of stuff. But for the most part, people are very well behaved, and they know that this is serious work. To document all the machines of the world. So they tend to take it pretty seriously. They tend to.
Well, that's a good thing.
Every once in a while, we get a joke.
All right, so let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Bob. We're going to continue our discussion with RFinder, so stick around, and we'll be right back. Are you tired of lousy propagation conditions and wondering how to work some real DX for a change? Maybe you spin the dial and wonder what's going on below the voice segment of the HF bands. The answer is, you're missing out. You're missing out on digital modes, a rapidly growing and exciting part of amateur radio. Work real DX with the incredible JT65 and JT9 modes. It's no exaggeration when I tell you, you will work stations you never thought possible, even using low power and compromised antennas. Have fun making new contacts in modes such as PSK31, Olivia, Radio Teletype, Slow Scan TV, and many more. The Rig Blaster Advantage is everything you need to operate these exciting digital modes. Made right here in the US, the Rig Blaster interface has set the standards for nearly 20 years. Thousands of satisfied operators have learned their Rig Blaster Advantage will provide solid digital communications, easy operating, and reliability. Don't miss out on the fun and excitement any longer. Head on over to everythinghamradio.com/WMR for more information and learn how to get your free USB port monitor with your purchase. Alright, we are back with Bob Greenberg, W2CYK, and we are talking about RFinder. So, I know you mentioned this before, but what devices and where can you find RFinder at?
Well, it runs on Android and iPhone, so you would find it in iTunes on your iOS device, or on Google Play on your Android device. And it also has a web version, web.rfinder.net and routes.rfinder.net. And we also are integrated directly with Chirp and RT Systems. Our integration with RT Systems is really cool. If you search on YouTube for a video called RFinder Space Killer. And also there's a video on the RT Systems website also on how it works. And it's really quite cool. I mean, you can define a start point and an end point and basically find repeaters over any route in the world.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Except for if you try to go from if you try to go through Lebanon to Tel Aviv, you can't get a route across the border. And if you try to go from Panama City, Panama, to Medellin, Colombia, you can't get over the isthmus. It must be too dangerous. I guess Google doesn't want to give you a route that way. Or something. I don't know. It must be banditos up in the hills or something.
So are the apps, are they free? Do you pay for them? How much are they?
Well, it's a subscription basis. So when you purchase it on your Apple, it includes your first year. When you get an Android, it's trialware, so you just download it, install it, and then you subscribe at that point from inside the app, or you go to subscribe.rfinder.net. But if you don't have an app, you can just go to subscribe.rfinder.net and get the subscription there. And it's right now it's $9.99, but it's going up shortly to $12.99. And because we're going to have to afford some financial support to the repeater coordinators, it looks like. So we're going to need to make an adjustment for that, and help financially support those guys doing their job.
Right.
Because the league did that for many years, and they're not going to do that anymore. So we're going to pick up the ball and probably take care of that. So and it's let's see, it's $12.99 on the Apple, and that includes your first year. And we have like 5-year plans, 3-year plans. We have a lifetime plan. So basically go to subscribe.rfinder.net and choose your poison.
Well, it sounds like an awesome program. I mean, especially, for those of you that travel or something like that, using this program, it sounds really neat. What are the
having the app and having the routing feature, so you can like blast a route into your radio, and then get a cradle for your phone and watch the machines come up on the on the map. And as they're coming up, you just basically click your click the memory knob and go to the next memory item, and it works great. I mean, we use it. We went from Dayton, Long Island, New York to Dayton that way, and chatted with a whole bunch of nice people. Although this year, I got to say, we did put in a hotspot for DMR in the car, and that was a lot of fun too, because we had to chat with people all over the world while we were cruising along.
So, did you have a booth there at Hamvention?
We did. We had a nice booth. The league is very nice to us. They put us right there with them, and make nice signage for us and stuff. So yeah, it's great. And so we're part of their booth area. They give us these really, really nifty, nice ARRL shirts to wear and stuff.
Wow, fancy.
So that's pretty fancy. And this year we had a lot of fun because we had our new devices, the new RFinder Android radios and the RFinder Android tablet, and which are basically Android cell phones integrated with with an FM DMR transceiver, and it's fully controlled by RFinder. So that's kind of cool. No code plugs. I mean, you can basically connect to any DMR machine in the world, no matter where you are, and you don't have to worry about, did I program my radio before I left?
So I'm sure you can probably do that with the Android phone radio things that you're talking about. But can you? Is there a way to maybe integrate or connect your radio to it, where you can tap a button on the app and it will change your frequency on your radio?
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that. I have over here on the bench, I have our first real mobile radio, and we were at the International Wireless Communications Expo in Vegas, and there was a company out of China that had these beautiful mobiles. I mean, really stunning mobiles, and 25 or 50 watts, and they were DMR, and it said Bluetooth on it. Bluetooth programming, and I'm looking at it, I said to the salesperson, I said, really be really great if I could change the front panel frequency, not just the memories. And it's the chief technology officer of the company was standing there, and he just turns around and says to me in perfect English, "Finally." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "I can have that working for you in 2 weeks." So he did it, and he made a special ROM for us for RFinder, and we're about to program it up and make it work. And soon that'll be our next, next rig that we carry. It'll be a monoband UHF, UHF FM, CMR, mobile that you can just press a button in RFinder and change the front panel frequency on it.
That sounds awesome.
I think it's going to be great. Basically, use your Android as a remote. You can't do it with an iPhone because, in Apple's infinite wisdom, they decided that we don't need to have serial port profiles in iPhones. But, there's plenty of cheesy Androids around or repurposed cell phones that can be used as a remote control for it. So we're really excited about that. Actually, I can't wait to get it in my car. I'm looking forward to it.
So it would be really neat if there was some way to, integrate the data port that's on most radios in little 7-pin DIN plugs, and have maybe like a Raspberry Pi connected in between them or something like that, where you could change.
It's funny you said that, because the first thing we did, like years ago, was we took an ETH057. I took a Raspberry Pi. I took a serial cable for from an RT Systems, a regular 9-pin, and I took 9-pin serial FT857 cable and plugged it in, and then we made it up, a button inside of RFinder to change the the front panel frequency on the 857. And that build still exists. Like, you can download that, and it's fully open source, so you can modify it for any radio you want. There's all instructions there on how to do it. We call it an RFinder Pi.
Now, is that on your website or
no, it's on the QRZ new what do you call it? The forums.
The forums, okay. All right, I'll have to see if I can find that and put it in the show notes of today's episode, y'all. Make me a quick note here. While I'm doing that, so you said that it's $12.99 for the app in the first month, and it's what's the you said there was a lifetime membership. How much does that cost?
Yeah, it's for the first year. $12.99. It's cheap. It's really cheap. It's ridiculous. It's $12.99, and that's the first year, and that gives you if you buy it on Apple, it gives you your first year, and it gives you perpetual updates on Apple.
So does it charge through your Apple account, or? Yeah. That's cool.
Not that one, but we hope that like Apple makes us put a in-app purchase for the renewal in there.
Mm-hmm.
But we would prefer if people did the renewals and the subscription purchases on the web, because they take a big hunk from us.
So is there a way, is there a way to do a subscription on your site initially and then get the app and put in a product key or something?
Well, you can, but it makes more sense to get the app on Apple first. You really got to get it on Apple first. And this way it includes your first year, because a lot of times people don't see the big dark black letters at the top that says, note, if you have an Apple, purchase the app there. It includes your first year. Then they buy a year, and then I want to get the app, but I don't have to pay $12.99. I'm like, it said it in big dark letters, so you're much better off just getting the app.
All right, so with that, I think that will be a perfect time to take a quick break. So stick around, y'all. We will be right back. All right, y'all, I'm not going to keep you very long from the rest of the interview. I just wanted to let everybody know, if you need some QSL cards that are awesome quality, make sure you head on over to Randy at KB3IHF QSL Cards. He makes some awesome QSL cards. He also has a whole bunch of swag stuff that you can get personalized with your call sign, your name, and maybe your special event or something like that. So make sure you head on over there and check out his site. There is a link in the show notes of today's episode. Also, if you order some QSL cards, make sure that you mention that you heard about him on the Everything Ham Radio podcast. I will get a small affiliate commission if you do. So that's one way that you can help support this podcast. Also, there is a link in the show notes for the RFinder app in iTunes. I'm going to try and find one as well on the Google Play Store, so make sure you check those out. And again, they will be affiliate links as well. So one more way that you can support this podcast that I greatly appreciate. Thank you very much for all the donations that have been made in the past. Thank you for my Patreons that help support this podcast, and thank you all that have been shopping on Amazon, buying stuff through there. Again, you can find the affiliate link on the sidebar of the main of any page. Actually, there's a link on that you can click on, and if you go in there, you don't have to buy what I have listed. You can buy anything on Amazon. So if you shop regularly on Amazon, please think about adding my affiliate code to your bookmark. You can there if you go to everythinghamradio.com/support, there's instructions on how to do that. Or you can simply just go to my website, click on the Amazon link on the sidebar, and pretty much anything that you buy will get an affiliate commission for. So thank you all very much for that. Thank you for all of the people that have been shopping. And all of y'all, just y'all are awesome. Thank you very, very much. Okay, that's enough of me talking, even though it's well deserved for each one of y'all. So let's go ahead and get back to our interview with Bob about RFinder. All right, y'all, we are back. We are with Bob Greenberg, W2CYK, and we're talking about RFinder. So what all, I mean, you kind of went over it a little bit earlier in the episode, but what all can RFinder do?
Well, it's a repeater directed that works anywhere in the world, and pretty much the known world anyway. It's got integration with Echolink directly. I think it's really the first time two apps deeply integrated with each other from two different authors.
Now, does the Echolink thing, does it show like all the nodes or just all the repeaters?
Well, in RFinder, we show the Echolink nodes, and if you just touch the node number and you have Echolink installed on it, then it just pulls Echolink to that node and kicks off a connection automatically. So if you're like perusing machines in wherever, Tokyo, for instance, and you want to connect to it, you just touch the number and it connects. And then we have social features. So if you want to turn on, for instance, posting on APRS, the fact that you're talking on that particular repeater, you can do it. And the way we do it is that on Echolink, you're talking locally, so it drops you on the map near your current position, but it also drops you on the map next to the Echolink node on the far point. So people that are at the far point can see that you're there on the map, and people locally can see that you're talking over Echolink.
Now, does that just post to like APRS.fi or?
Yeah. Yep. You can see your postings on FI.
Cool.
Yeah. What else do we do? Oh, so you can also post to your Twitter account and tell people you're checked into a particular repeater. You can post to your Facebook feed and say you checked into a particular repeater. There's all options. You can turn it on or off. You can do all of them if you want to post everywhere. What else? The RFinder Pi we talked about a minute ago. The new radios that will be coming out to be able to program in real time. It's got excellent mapping. The mapping is phenomenal. People love the mapping.
Does it use Google Maps or?
Yeah, it uses Google Maps.
Okay.
We have the Brandmeister hose line integrated into the app, so you can just pull up the hose line. If you're using the hose line on an RFinder Android radio, and you're looking at the hose line, you're like, oh, jeepers, I really want to connect to this particular talk group. You see a lot of activity. When you touch the talk group, it changes the current talk group on the radio over to that, DMR talk group at the current frequency that you're on. So if you're on your hotspot, it just changes your talk group on the hotspot. If you're on, Brandmeister repeater, it'll just connect you up to the talk group on the machine. So that's kind of cool. What else do we do recently? We add stuff to this all the time. You can filter out like modes and bands. It's got a nifty little call sign lookup. So if you ever really talk to somebody on the air and you can't remember their name,
Mm-hmm.
so you can poke the call sign and get their name and sound like you actually like remember them.
That might be handy.
Yeah, you can pretend that you actually remember them. It's kind of fun.
Happens to me all the time.
Oh yeah, you can override your location, put the device anywhere in the world, and see where the machines are, where you're going. That's kind of cool. We have a continental preload. So, for instance, my son Jesse and I, we were driving from the ham radio 2015, I think, or 2014, and we were driving from. We'd actually left the show. We went to Dachau concentration camp and perused that. And then he and I went south. And as soon as we crossed over the Austrian border, there was no internet. And we couldn't use the app anymore. I was like, come on, really? I said to him right there, we're going to add continental preload. So now if you're going traveling somewhere where your internet might be sketchy, even here in the States, if you're going to, I recommend to everybody just do a continental preload for where they're operating. And, in the background, it'll keep it fresh when it sees internet, but if you don't see internet, it'll have a backing table for the continent you're on. So that's kind of cool. That's a cool feature and very, very useful. Like I said, you can override your location anywhere on Earth. So if you're going to London, you want to see what machines you might want to connect to before you go, you can pretend that you're in London. And what else? And, of course, the RFinder Pi stuff that I talked about earlier. So, on the radios themselves, on the Android radios, we have a hotspot mode. And shortly you'll be able to put in a variety of hotspots. So if you have 6 hotspots, one in your car, one in your kitchen, one in your however you do, one in the office. You'll be able to pre-program all your hotspots in and choose which hotspot you want to connect to. I'm talking about, like BlueStack or OpenSpot, be it DMR hotspots. So, so it's really feature packed. It's full of all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, sounds like it is.
Come up with a crazy idea, or one of our users comes up with a crazy idea, we write it and throw it in. So it's kind of cool because when you start using RFinder, you become part of the design team. It's kind of cool. Everybody throws in ideas and we add them. If it makes sense, we throw it in.
So you mentioned earlier that you integrate with the RT system and Chirp, you said?
Yes, that's correct. So you can inside of RT, like I said, look for a video on YouTube, search for RFinder Space Killer, and you'll see it. And you can actually put in a start point and end point and put a bunch of waypoints in along the way to bend your route. So, one of the demos I do is I go from Oslo, Norway to Cannes, France, and that gives you a pretty straight south, trip, through Germany and stuff. But if you want to stop in Normandy, you just put in, Normandy, France, space FR for a waypoint, and we'll bend you off to the west first before taking you down south. So, and same thing in the States. I mean, you might want to make a side stop somewhere or go through specific cities. You can use the waypoint feature to bend your route in the direction it needs to go. So if you want to go from Signal Hill, Newfoundland to San Diego, California, but you want to do it via Winnipeg, you can.
So is there how do you connect your RT system or your Chirp to your RFinder account?
Oh, right inside of the software, you put in your RFinder email address and password. And that's it. And then you're connected. There's no importing, exporting. There's no massaging. You just do your query. And you can make a query around a point in RT or over a route in RT. Chirp only does around a point. But.
So what, you put like a GPS coordinates or a city name or something like that, and say within 25 miles or something?
Yeah, and Chirp's kind of crude. It's not like the best piece of software out there, but but it's it's okay. It's okay. It does a pretty good job, but it doesn't look up anything. Like, so you have to put in your lat long. So you could use like web.rfinder.net to look up a lat long and stick it into Chirp, and then it'll do the query. Or in the RT, you put in place names. So you could say like Eiffel Tower, Las Vegas, and that could be your point. And it will find stuff around that point. Or Eiffel Tower, FR, and we'll find it from there. So one of my favorites is Sydney Opera House. It knows what the Sydney Opera House is. So you can just pick a point on Earth. You can put in a zip code. You can put in a mail stop. Whatever they use in other countries. Instead of zip codes.
Now, does the RFinder, I mean not the RFinder, the RT system, does it have a map view of where all the repeaters are?
It has a map view for the route that you choose. So whatever route that you define, it'll then show you on a map and say, okay, that's the one I want. And then you can just hit go and or hit OK, and it'll go load that route into the grid.
Now, can you do this on the web portal as well?
Yeah. You go into the web portal, you put in your email and password and tell it to save it, and then there's a place there to look up anything. You can look up anything. I mean, you can say, McMurdo Station, Antarctica. It'll find the GPS coordinates for that, and then you can just say, get repeaters. It'll load up the list for you. And then there's downloads on the web version, in a variety of formats, including GPS waypoint formats and, TPE format and Chirp format, so you can, if you're on routes, for instance, and you want to download a route for Chirp, you can do that from the route, the route function on routes.rfinder.net. So.
That sounds really awesome. I would love to be able to play with it, but I honestly, I don't see a use for it for me because I don't go anywhere except for to and from work. But and I pretty well know all the repeaters around here locally. But like I said, this sounds like an awesome program for anybody that travels normally or even rarely. It's $13 a year. That's chump change basically. So.
You're talking about $1 a month. I mean, it used to be 86 cents a month. I mean, people still complain about 86 cents a month. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, but we put it to good use. I mean, we've invested back into the program so much, and you can see when you use the program, you can see it. You have an Android, right?
No, I'm an iPhoner.
You're an iPhone. But, if you had an Android around, you could, I could tell you to just load it because it's trial with it. But it's so many features, it's amazing. And the routing function, we put a lot of time into that, to make it right. And, the integration with RT, et cetera, so. And then, of course, developing the RFinder Android radios, integrating with, Brandmeister and integrating with DMR Mark and Phoenix now in UK. We're constantly reinvesting what we make into whatever the next leap is in repeater directory technology, as well as if you look in the July QST on page 103, we're very, very excited. We just started a annual college scholarship. That's sponsored by RFinder. So we're trying to do things. We're trying to give it back. Give it back to ham radio. We do a lot of stuff with the Scouts. We've been collecting antenna towers, taking towers down. For people and taking them to Boy Scout camps and installing in Scout camps. So we do stuff with it. We're not just sit around and smile. We figure out ways of making ham radio better, and encouraging youth in ham radio and stuff. So that's really important part of this is to use the money that we do make on it to good use. We make quarterly give money to 15 radio societies, and so we try to put it back into ham radio as much as we can.
Right. That's awesome. So I know the 2017 ARR repeater directory, all the information was taken from RFinder, right? How did that come about?
Well, they said, "Oh, we want to print the repeater directory. Can you generate the book?" I said, "I think so." So we did it. It took a couple of days, but it wasn't that big a deal. Yeah, it's all database driven, so we just had to write the scripts to do it. So, but it was It was fun to see, our name on the cover of the book. That was kind of, and it's interesting because they sold out so fast. We're about to do a second edition this year. Wow. And after people saw the first edition, they saw some things that were missing, saw some things that need to be updated. So people are feverishly putting updates into the system. So the second edition is going to be even better.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's really fun. Getting really, really great participation from our community. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make it better for everybody.
Yeah. Ham radio is one of the things that I think has the best community for just about anything. Whether it's taking down a tower, like it happened to me last year when I moved. I had a couple of my local hams come over and take it down for me free of charge. It's like give a 6-pack of beer or something like that, and they come and take it down for you.
Oh yeah, or even more fun putting it up.
Yeah, even though I didn't need to this time, but I had a 60-foot tower that I took down at my old house because I lived in a valley where I dropped like 50 feet, pretty much in every direction. And now I live in the second highest part of the county that I live in. The highest point is actually about a mile west of me, and it's about 5 foot higher. So I have like a little 15, 18-foot tower. I basically use one section and the top section for that, and that's pretty much all I need. I don't need to put the 60 foot up. But so ham radio, the ham radio community is awesome. You come together when things are needed, whether it's for emergencies or whether it's just for helping a local ham out. So I love the hobby. I mean, it's second to none, I think.
I think it's great, man. And next week is Field Day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, make Field Day great again. I love it.
Absolutely.
Every Field Day is a lot of fun. So, although the last few years we've been going to Friedrichshafen to the ham radio event in Germany, which almost always coincides with Field Day, except for this year. So I get to go to Field Day this year. Cool. So we'll be at the Horton Point Lighthouse with the Conic Amateur Radio Club. So I'm excited, and on one of my trips to England, I picked up one of those English Total Mass Solutions pneumatic towers. So I get to use my pneumatic tower I got a high gain beam I'm going to throw on it. So
wow.
So that'll be an awful lot of fun.
Yeah. So Bob, do you mind giving out your email address if anybody has any questions or would like to contact you? Or
sure. W2CYK at rfinder.net. That's RFINDER.net.
All right. Well, Bob, thank you very much for coming on today and telling us about this, and hopefully we can expand what you got. Oh, one quick question before we go. The radios that you mentioned, the Android radios and the new mobile radios, where can you get those at?
Oh, AndroidDMR.com. AndroidDMR.com.
And for the new mobile radios?
Yeah, that'll be on there also.
Cool. Alrighty, so
We're probably going to get another web address. I don't know. That's what was in my head at the time, but we're trying to come up with something else. So.
cool. All right, well, I will have all the links we've talked about in the show notes of today's episode. So, Bob, thank you very much for coming on. I greatly appreciate it, and telling us all about RFinder.
Well, thank you very much. And 73s, everybody. Happy Field Day. Woohoo!
All right, 73 user. All right, y'all. Well, that pretty much wraps up this episode. I want to thank Bob again for coming on today and talking to us about RFinder. I hope everybody had an awesome field day. I failed to mention when we were recording this actually went live after field day, so I hope that you had a great one. Again, the question of this week is, how was your field day? Did you participate? Did you make a lot of contacts? Let us know about it. You can leave comments in the show notes. And you can find those at everythinghamradio.com/podcast/75. That's number 75. Or you can just leave them on Facebook, and we'll have a question of the day in the Facebook group. You can find that at facebook.com/groups/everythinghamradio. You can also, I still have the page, it is still going, facebook.com/everythinghamradio. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/everythinghamradio and on Twitter at K5CLM. I want to thank everybody for listening. Y'all are awesome. Thank you very much for all your support. If you have not done so already, you can subscribe to my email list. You'll get an email when I publish a new blog post or a new podcast episode, which I've been starting to write a short little blog post on like Monday or Tuesday as well. So make sure you sign up so you don't miss those. You can find that at the bottom of the show notes. There's a little form you can fill out, or you can go to everythinghamradio.com/subscribe. Either way, fill out the form, click on the sign me up button. You'll get an email from me with a link that you'll need to click on before you will start receiving emails. Also, if you would like to support this podcast, there are several ways you can do it. You can find additional information on the support page at everythinghamradio.com/support. You can make a one-time donation through PayPal. You can become a per-episode contributor through Patreon. And thank you very much for my Patreons. And also, you can simply shop on Amazon.com through my affiliate link, and you can find those on the sidebar of the website. So once again, thanks Bob for coming on. Thank you all, my listeners. If it wasn't for y'all, this podcast wouldn't be what it is. So thank you very much, and I guess until next time, this is K5CLM signing out. 73 y'all.